fast fashion is so boring.
Yeah.
It has no story. It's got nothing to it.
Well, hello and welcome to Green Queen.
The perfect podcast for imperfect environmentalists.
Is that what we say? Yeah.
We say.
Yeah,
that's the tagline.
Yeah, as soon as you said it, I was like, I feel pretty convinced that I've just said somebody else's tagline.
Imagine.
Yeah, ours. Anyway, I'm Abbie.
And I'm Imogen.
And we are joined today on a barge, of all places, by a very special guest, Mary Mandefield.
Thanks for having me.
Loving the barge.
Yes, although it was just slightly problematic because do you want to explain what just happened?
I am known for being a bit clumsy and chaotic, and that's why we work so well together, because you balance me out, and I think you will as well, Imogen. But yeah, I thought I'd lost the microphone, and I was like, I'm on a boat, and I feel like it slipped through the floorboards, and it's now in the water. But it's not. It was attached to the inside of my jacket. But here we are.
But I was looking at the thing and I was like, well, we're picking up the sound, so it's not in the water.
Yeah.
You know, it was always going to be
But how funny. Up until that point, we were like, we're on a boat in London. This is so cool. And then your very words were, I don't love that we're on a barge.
I don't love the situation that we're in, but I'm loving the settings. This is great, and the food's good, and it's nice.
So we've been at Barge East, which is at Hackney Wick.
Yeah. Spot the person not from London.
East London, in the capital city, on some water. Also spot the person who got the food all down. So, anyway, look, I'm having a great time. We've
Lovely.
had 99.9% vegan lunch.
And it was yummy.
Yeah, it was yummy. It was really good.
Actually, I'm also just totally going to drop you in it because we were like, we'll go vegan because you are a vegan, I believe. And then you went, yeah, we'll go vegan. Can we also get the hand croquettes?
Also the fact that I was the one that was like, we're going to go vegan.
Okay. Love this.
Can I get the croquette?
I don't enforce it. It's so funny when you're vegan and you go for dinner or lunch and stuff with friends. They're like, is it possible if I eat some mayonnaise? I'm like, obviously have whatever you want. And like, I am part Jamaican and part Irish, two cultures who love meat, love fish, so I'm used to it. When I go to Ireland and see the family there, they're like, you're vegan, but you'll have some ham, won't you? And you're like, not really, but I like the vibes, we're open, yeah.
Be in the presence of ham.
Yeah.
It's all good.
Well, we have hop, skipped and jumped probably to like the 3/4 point of the vibe in this chat. Mary, do you want to just start by telling us a little bit about what it is that you do for work?
Yeah.
So I am a broadcaster, mainly on radio, and I'm like dipping my toes into the world of TV, which has been very exciting.
You're like full on up to the knee, I think.
Okay, I'm knee deep in TV, but I'd like to be up to the neck.
Yeah.
I am a writer, and I write a newsletter, and I run a collective called Making Moves, which is for creatives who are kind of getting going in the media industry. And then when I'm not doing that, I am obsessed with secondhand shopping and secondhand fashion. And I've just been part of a big campaign with a charity shop in London called Trade. And yeah, just trying to fly the flag for still being able to like look cute and dress nice and have fun with fashion whilst doing it a bit more responsibly. And I'm learning a lot throughout it as well. I'm definitely an imperfect kind of environmentalist and an imperfect like sustainable girly as well, but I try my very best, and I'm trying to like bring people along for the journey.
So anybody would think that you're the perfect guest for this podcast.
It just makes sense, doesn't it?
Well, also just based on your social media alone, you are extremely busy. And I think the thing that really struck us is that you say that you're the imperfect environmentalist, but you are trying so hard at so many different things, and I think it's clear that it's become so much of your life in many different aspects. But I guess the question that I want to know is why, like, what got you into all of this side of things?
It's a good old question. I'll try not to make it too long-winded. I think we all have our own kind of journeys in, don't we? And it's hard to like bring it back to like pinpoint like the moment when you realise something or whatever. But even from when I was in year 8 at school, so I was like 12 years old, I gave up meat, and I was like, I don't want to do this. Like, I just don't think it's nice or whatever. And then that kind of sparked something where then I talk to people and they're like, oh, so do you not buy leather? And I'm like, I guess I don't. Like, no, I don't buy leather. And then it would move on to other things like, oh, so I guess you don't buy this and you don't do that. And I was like, and I think I did follow other people's leads of what they thought you should be if you cared about the planet. And actually, at that time I just cared about the animals more. But anyway, that was that. And then I didn't go to university, and actually had someone come into our school and talk about going and working overseas, volunteering overseas, and I just thought it sounded amazing. So I went on to become a teacher in Namibia instead of going to university, and I loved it. I had like the best time. I was there for 12 months. Felt like I really it changed my life. Like I left as a child and I came back home. I was like, I'm an adult. This is crazy. But whilst I was there, I think I don't want it to be like poverty porn, but you know, I grew up in Hertfordshire. It's like a very nice area of the world. Like the people I grew up around are quite well off, like living comfortable lives, and then to just be, you know, dropped somewhere at the age of 18 where you're like, oh my God, this is not the reality for a lot of people. Just like, and you have this idea of what poverty is. We've seen it on TV, and you know, you think you know what an appeal film looks like, and you're and it's nothing like that. And I think I realised, like, the realities of living in poverty is that, you know, you do have to be more conscious about your community. You have to be more conscious about the things around you. And it just changed my mindset of like, I want to live more like that. I don't want to chuck something away and think that that's the end of it.
What is a way?
What is a way? Yeah. And then you go somewhere where they, you know, this was in 2012, so it was a while ago, but they were really feeling the impacts of climate change. And it's before, you know, it was educated there of what climate change was, but they were like, it hasn't rained in a year, the cows are dying, and our farm is failing, we don't have any money, and so we can't eat. So you have all of that in front of you, and you're like, oh, maybe actually there's been a, you know, ripple effect from things that are going on in other countries that are kind of landing on people's plates here. And it's so much worse now, and the times when I have gone back to visit, it's insane. Like just seeing plains of fields that used to be like luscious green grass is now just straw. You know, wildfires happening there. So, you know, that definitely sparked something in me, and I took a lot of different routes of like, I wanted to be a photojournalist. I was like, maybe that's how I can like tell the stories that I'm seeing. I wanted to, you know, write about it. I think I'd always kind of had a bit of a journalistic mind about it. So it's kind of like taken me to where I am now, where I do get to do the fun shiny things of like entertainment radio. Like I work on Hits Radio, and we talk about pop music and the Grammys and the latest TV show, and the fact that I'm watching Love Is Blind.
Whenever there's Beyonce news, there's like the BBC News channel Mary Mandefield.
Yeah, and that's what I get called up to do is all these things that are so crazy and fun and shiny. But I really hope that I can get to a point where, you know, people want to hear the other stuff that I want to say, and so I feel like I'm like making baby steps with it. But I think you can care about the environment and still care about pop culture. So it's been like a long journey, but I would say 2012 being in Namibia, and then kind of exploring sub-Saharan Africa at the same time. That definitely made me think like, like I don't want to live my life as Mary, Queen of the World, living in a bubble. I want to be part of a community. I want to feel like I'm a citizen of the earth, and that actually takes a bit of responsibility and a bit of intentionality, and you can't just float around thinking what I do doesn't have any impact on anyone else.
So that's like 13 years ago. And like you say, it wasn't like everybody there was going, oh, climate change has done this. And really, even in the UK, climate change, it's become this buzz sort of topic really in the last couple of years. What was that like for you getting back in 2012, 2013 and being like, I've just witnessed this thing, I don't really know what it was. Were you immediately then like, okay, maybe climate change is a thing, or at what point did that become like, did you join the dots?
I spent a couple more years like traveling and living in other countries and working overseas and just trying to figure out like what I want to do. And then coming back, I felt really like helpless. And so at that point I had like a Tumblr. I was like writing around Tumblr, and I was like writing blogs and pitching, you know, articles to different magazines about like, these are the things I've experienced. And I spoke to my auntie about it quite a lot. My auntie actually lives in Austria and has lived there for like most of her adult life. And she works for the United Nations. So she was like, I totally get how you feel, you know, that kind of frustration. She was like, why don't you work for a big charity, like a big NGO? And I was like, I just don't know how. I don't have a degree. I feel so out of my depths. Everyone told me it was so hard. She was like, I used to work for Oxfam in my 20s. Why don't you apply? And they actually had a role as a social media assistant. And I was then doing their Tumblr and their Pinterest. And so that was my first like big girl job. And then that kind of opened up the world, because obviously they're dealing with humanitarian crisis, but so much of it is interwoven into, you know, climate change and sustainable fashion was something we were talking about at that time as well, and learning about what actually happens in sweatshops, and learning about how clothes and textiles production processes could change. And I just didn't expect even to do that, I guess, at Oxfam. But yeah, that was definitely my way of channeling my energy.
And also what you did is like you saw what your skill set was. You were like, oh, I kind of want to help. I think that I might be able to help you in this way. And then you learn everything else that you needed to learn along the way. And it's so great that you don't have to go in and be like, I can be the CEO of Oxfam, but you can be like, I can write a really good blog. Can I help you?
Can I tell you something funny though? It's like our CEO at the time, he used to offer these like 10-minute catch-ups, like I'm connecting with the people, with the staff. And so I booked one in with him, and he like sat me down. He's like, what do you want? Like, what's your? And I was like 21. I was like, I said, I want to be the CEO of Oxfam. And he was like, okay. And I was like, what advice do you have for me? And actually, I'll share it because I think it's good advice. He was like, learn how to ask for feedback. And I've taken that on. And I'm like, yeah, because all I ever wanted to be told is that I'm doing a good job. And he was like, you need to know when you're not doing a good job. He's like, make sure you ask for feedback. And I was like, oh, thank you, Mark. He's no longer the CEO. So maybe he's opened up a slot. I don't know. Maybe it's in my future. But yeah, we'll give TV and radio a go for now. But I'd love to do something like that. Like I really, truly feel really passionately about charities. A lot of charities that shouldn't have to exist, but they do. They're a real necessity. But yeah, I think it kept coming back to that thing of like, I'm not just an individual. We're not just individuals. We all kind of feed into something.
And Oxfam's such an interesting one because they have been pioneers in so many incredible initiatives. But also they were very early pioneers in the second-hand fashion. And especially I hadn't appreciated that they had like a designer Oxfam shop way before it was cool, way before vintage. And was your experience at Oxfam, did that kind of get you into the fashion side of things as well?
100%. Yeah. So they had like their boutique shops, they had bridal shops, like dedicated Oxfam bridal shops. Like, this is incredible. And people didn't know about it. And so that was part of my job, like trying to tell like new brides, like, girlies, go get a secondhand dress. Like, it's fun, it's such an experience. And changing your perception of what it means to shop secondhand or charity shop. I'm like, guys, they've got some nice stuff. Yeah, definitely kind of got me thinking more about clothes. And then we used to do screenings at work, and they showed us a documentary called The True Cost. It's on Netflix, I think. And yeah, it was just about the fashion industry and garment workers in Bangladesh, and and from that day I was like, I don't want to buy new clothes. No. Yeah. And I used to love Shein, H&M, Zara. I feel like an addict now, and I talk about it like, oh, my old life. Yeah. Like, I used to love it. I was in big Topshop in Oxford Street. That was my thing. Like growing up, like I just loved it. My mum and my sister are big shoppers. That's our thing. Like as a family to do.
Pilgrimage.
Yeah. And I feel like we're exactly the same in that we're like, oh well, old me. And I still have like Zara, H&M, Oysho, all these apps on my phone, and I update them all the time. I never even click on them. I don't know why they're still there, but it's almost like this sign of my past that I'm like, do you know what? It was who I was. I've learned, I've educated, I've moved on.
Yeah. And maybe it does put people off sometimes. I think maybe when I talk to people, they're like, oh, that's a bit extreme. And I'm like, then I try and dull it down, and I'm like, well, you actually can't do everything. If you need underwear or, it's really hard, I think, to find good quality secondhand shoes, because people wear shoes to the death and then they get rid of them or whatever. Or like, if you do find a good pair of shoes in charity shop, often are really uncomfortable, and you're like, that's why you gave it away. Like, I get it now. But there obviously are loads of caveats and whatever. But sometimes it's just like a light switch in your head, and whether you do it for reasons because you want to save money, or you realise like you've just got so much stuff and it's like taking over your life. But I do think sometimes you just get to that point where you're like, I can't keep living like this and thinking that this is a positive impact. But I think there's so much to shopping as women. It is kind of pushed down our throats as it's like this fun activity, it's a social thing, it's a third space, it's a bonding thing with your mum or your sister or your friends or whatever. And big events are kind of centered around what are you going to wear, what are we all wearing. And you're like, imagine if all that time and energy that we did that, we actually put into like, I don't know, like read a book or like go watch a film or something. And I think I do still crave that, like going shopping with my friends. And
it's hard to know if that's innate or if that's because it's been such a big part of our culture.
And I think also like with any kind of fun event, dressing up for the event, it's that sort of putting the effort in, it's the enjoyment prior to the thing happening. It is all part of this whole process. And I think there's also fun reframing that shopping in your own wardrobe.
Yeah.
Like, oh, I've never done these two things together, or like I've never borrowed this from that person. But it is that, I do think it's such a critical part of the excitement and enjoyment of special things.
Yeah.
And you feel more special because I got something new, and I think I'm going to have a great night because I'm wearing something new.
Great in it, and
It's like an actual addiction. Like, I remember the feeling of, there was even like a time where my friends and I would be like, oh, I'm having a really well down day, retail therapy. Like, and you literally do feel the buzz. The minute it's home, you're like, I don't care about this item anymore. Or you wear it once and you're like, I'm so fed up of this. So, and again, there's that mindset shift. I think that, like, as you do start to suss things out and figure things out, that you kind of look back on and you're like, oh yeah, that actually never did make me happy for much more than a day. And that did cost me quite a lot of money. And my bank account looks a little bit healthier now. And this is where I think the whole second-hand September thing, you know, people might say that things like this are a bit of a fad, Veganuary or whatever. If it's your first chance at giving charity shopping a go. First chance at giving a really good clear out a go. First chance at being like, do you know what? Even if it's just a week, if you're like religiously, addictively going on ASOS, H&M, whatever, and you say to yourself, for a week of September instead of the full month, I'm going to try not to do it. It breaks the cycle, and that is what I think it's really good for, isn't it?
It's a gateway. And even if you did that 1 month out of the year, then I think that's a good thing for yourself. But then if in October you thought, I could maybe do that on a level, I could do a little bit of that, and then maybe it gets to Christmas and you're like, actually, I don't need a new party dress. Like, I did this last year and I haven't solved it. I keep doing this thing where I buy 7 dresses, and then the next month I say I've got nothing to wear, but you still have those 7 dresses. So it's not solved it. And actually, so much of it goes so much deeper. Like, we are women, we're all similar age. Like, we were raised by fashion magazines where they just slated women for how they looked and what they wore. Oh my God, she wore it twice. Oh my God, she's wearing that dress. As if we're not meant to wash our clothes and wear them again. Like, it's an insane way where men can, you know, I'm thinking of celebrities in magazines, and what I looked up to in media and culture is like men going to a film premiere wearing a black suit, lovely. What are they going to wear to the next premiere? A black suit. And all that time that women have had to spend thinking about styling and shopping and whatever, the men have honestly been reading books and watching films and like enriching their lives with other pieces of art, whereas we just get into this kind of thing. But we're not to blame for it at all. It's shoved down our throats, and it's such an easy dopamine hit, whether it's online shopping, whether it's shopping on the high street, whether it's just seeing something on someone's done a haul and they bought 100 items, so you think, oh, it's not bad if I buy 20, like whatever. But it's not our fault. But there is a way to change it, and there's a way to break the cycle, as you said, and it doesn't have to be all or nothing. It can just be like, I don't know, I feel like the things that are getting trendy at the moment are rental sites, which are great, but also we're having to pay like quite a lot of money sometimes to rent a dress, when actually back in the day you'd go ask your neighbour, but we don't do that anymore. Or you'd ask your friend. And the same with like clothes swapping parties. You can buy a ticket for £20 to go to a clothes swapping party. I'm like, you can actually do that for free with your friends. You just have to send a message, say, bring some clothes, I'll bring some clothes, and we'll swap them. I remember like in the office we used to do that, come and swap stuff, but we just don't, I feel like there's not that same level of community. It's coming back in areas, but so many of the things that are set up to kind of help us combat what our lifestyle is now with clothes, it exists and it's free and it's simple to do. You just have to be able to lean on your community a little bit for it.
Well, recently you've been working with Trade. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, so I was part of their closet clear out campaign, which is this whole summer just really encouraging people to look through your wardrobe and donate your unwanted items.
It's quite a dopamine hit.
And that's great, isn't it?
It's my heart more than rails that move.
Oh my God. And that helps you see what you have. It makes such a difference, doesn't it? And even dropping stuff up, my favourite thing to do in charity shop, I take my donation, right? And then I'll come back in like a couple of days, and then I'll see, if it's on the rails, if it's in the window. And there was one day when I was there and I just stayed in there for like half an hour, and I watched someone pick up 3 of my items, turn to her friend to say, love this jacket, and I hated the jacket, so I was like, she loves it, love this jacket, and then she bought it, and then she said, I can't wait to wear it, and I was like, this makes me so happy. But it is as simple as that. And I think what Trade do so well is that, you know, it's they make it really easy. They make it really fun. They do pickups, or they have lots of.
If you're in London, you can get stuff picked up.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
so good.
Just book a pickup time, and they'll just come round. I went and did a day where we did pickups, and then took them back to the.
Oh my god, I saw a clip of this. What did you name the vehicle?
Vivi Van Westwood.
Oh, Vivi Van
Right?
Westwood! So good.
So like, yeah, I just feel like it's just kind of normalising things like that. As much as it's normal to open the door and get an Amazon parcel for a lot of people, let's make it as normal to be like, oh, God, come get my collection. Do you know what I mean? It takes off my house. I don't want it anymore. Get out of my face. And it does feel good. And you know, some people say, oh, well, then you're just going to buy more stuff. But it's like, well, then go buy more secondhand stuff if you want to. It's fine.
Well, hopefully it's that again, it might be that breaking the cycle of that first touch point. Okay, so now I've signed up to trade and I get their emails, and actually, oh, now I'm following them on social media, and actually that dress is quite cute. Maybe I'll go in and have a little mooch. It's that gradual thing, isn't it? Where it's like, if you start by donating a load of stuff, then you might be like, well, actually, that was good stuff. What if other people are giving good stuff?
And also in going through that process of clearing out your wardrobe, you really have to evaluate what you've got in there. And
I mean, it's literally just bags of cash, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's mad.
But also, like, even the stuff that you decide to keep, it might be stuff that you've kind of forgotten about, and like, it just reframes what you do have. And I think in the same way that, you know, if you have a menu that has very few items on it, you think it's a bit fancier.
Yeah.
Wardrobe is a bit more kind of refined. You're like, well, you know, this is my black dress.
Yeah.
Everything feels very intentional, doesn't it? Like, and it does. It just removes. Yeah, that kind of the choice paradox, and I don't know if you guys have seen the like TikTok trend at the moment that's like showing lots of stuff like that people have, and it's like, remember, like, this all used to be money, and even beyond that, all this money used to be your time. And you know, I'm not against having a lot of stuff. I like stuff. I'm a collector of things. I like to think of like archiving things, and everything has a story. Everything, like the shorts I'm wearing belong to my mum. I'm pretty sure she had them from 80s at least.
That's wicked. Everything comes round. And
everything comes round. Yeah, and they last, whatever. And I think about, you know, and I'm a lot more intentional. Whereas if I just bought a cheap pair of shorts and then I, you know, left them on holiday, I don't care. So like, everything kind of has that story. And like, this jacket actually, when I was working at Oxfam, I used to be friends with a lot of the volunteers in the shop. So we'd go to music festivals, and they'd sometimes bring the shop to a music festival. So we were at Latitude, and I saw this jacket, and I was like, oh, that's nice. It was just plain leather jacket. I was like, that's all right. And then one of the volunteers got it, and he's an artist, started drawing on it and making like patterns and pictures and stuff with this pen. I was like, oh, what are you doing? He's like, I'm just decorating it. I was like, okay, that's cute. I went off my day, came back, he'd written my name on it. And I was like, Sam, why did you write my name? He's like, so what, did you buy it? So I bought it. I was like, thank you, you forced me. But every time I wear it, you know, you get to tell the story. And I think like, fashion and styling actually has nothing to do with trends. Like, we know trends come in and out, whatever. But I think people who are truly like fashionable or have good style are the people where their clothes completely tell the story of who they are. If you are, you know, you love dogs and you've got really nice, like cool, like hunter wellies, and you've got like you look really cool in your gilet and whatever, and you've got this nice bum bag because you've got your poo bags in there. I'm like, you look so cool. It's you. It's literally having. But like, that makes so much sense, because you walk the door, like, it tells me a story of exactly who you are and like what you're trying to put out to the world. And I think actually, if you look at how trends are pushed at the moment, it's trying to make everyone look the same. I'm like, that tells me nothing about you. And so I think having little items on you and around you, and you know, like trinkets and jewelry and this and that, is like actually just building the story of who you are. And I think that's an amazing form of self-expression, and we should be able to do that without feeling guilty or feeling that someone on the other side of it in textile production is being harmed, underpaid, exploited. And a world exists where clothes and fabrics and textiles can work in a way that it doesn't harm people, but it sometimes feels really far away because we're living in a generation of shit.
We are, but we did do an interview with OC&C in series 1, and the stats around how huge secondhand shopping is now, and actually, like, to our economy, it is, for whatever reason, whether it be that it's trendy now, whether it be that people are more educated and therefore care more, whatever it is, it's working. Whether it be that people like yourself are brilliant communicators in this space and are like, you know, always looking fabulous and the face of a gorgeous charity shop as well. I think it's this combination of things, isn't it? Where, you know, it's catching on, and thankfully sort of younger generations are getting it.
And like, just that it's from a purely market perspective. The numbers are so huge. that brands can't ignore it as like this like, you know, market shift, which I think is incredible. And the best thing, well, it wasn't the best thing, but one of the things that I loved learning from that particular podcast is like people who are in house shares, group purchases.
Yeah.
And then they like, you know, so they might all love the same dress. And I was like,
that's great.
I just imagined it existed when I was in a house share. Like,
because it's almost become a bit more cool to be like,
I
can do it.
savvy as well.
I think people do value, like, you know, I think people are so starting to see that the quality of the stuff in the high street nowadays is so poor, isn't it? Whereas actually, like, maybe that has got worse. Maybe we could spend a tenner and get a top from Zara 10 years ago, and it actually, like, it's still in my wardrobe. This was from H&M maybe, it was when I got engaged, so a long time ago. And yes, it's covered in food today, but I can assure you it normally looks fine. But, and you know, the quality, it's not brilliant, but it's okay, it's still going. I reckon if I was to buy this now, it would probably have disintegrated within a year. So the quality is so deteriorating, and I think people are totally catching on.
And it's to keep up with demand, isn't it? Of like what they want new styles in the shop. You know, like sites like Shein are uploading, I think it's between 2,000 and 10,000 different items a day.
It's gross.
It's insane. So like to keep up with that, there's no way of doing it sustainably. But to do that, you know, you've got to grow the cotton at just an insane rate. You're making things out of polyester. You're making things out of plastic. And I think, if we talk about, you know, the cost per wear is something, but also just how many times you've worn something. The average piece is worn 6 to 7 times before it's discarded. And you think,
and that's a good thing, I think, isn't it? Like, so, there's like some crazy stats as well, of like 40% of items that are produced are never even sold. They're never even worn, so they're just completely made, chucked in the bin, and again, what is the bin, what is away, sent to some poor country where, you know, it's just washing up on people's beaches.
And a lot of it's sitting on the bottom of the ocean now as well, so it's like it's out of sight, and so it is out of mind, which is not okay. But I just think I'd love to, like, I love stories around clothes. So like you said, like in house shares, like if you go on a night out and someone says love your dress, yes, you can be like, oh my god, it's got pockets, but you can also be like, oh my god, it actually belongs to my housemate, and we put it on a rotation, and this is from my when I got engaged, and you know, it gives you a chance to talk about stuff. And I think fast fashion is so boring. It has no story, it's got nothing to it, and that's like, even if all you care about is how you look and you want to feel sexy, at least come with a little bit of a story. That's sexy, that's cool. And I'd love for us to all kind of go in that direction.
Do you know, it's so interesting because when we looked into this a couple of months ago, we were reading this article about how with Shein, and a number of other brands also do this, but they have really sophisticated AI tools, so they can scrape like social media to see which trends are emerging, and then obviously create that vast volume of stuff very, very quickly that responds to what's happening in the here and now. That's just data. And to your point, that's not sexy. There is no story in that is like sexy and engaging and tangible.
You love a bit of data.
It's a data, really objective decision rather than like, you know, the identity around
you're right.
you and the fun as well.
And that's an ick. It actually is though, because we went to Wimbledon and we did this video asking loads of people, like, is your outfit rented, reworn, or reused? I don't know.
Can I just pause this for a second?
What?
We came up with those 3 R's, and then we'd had a little bit of juicy little drinks. And we could not remember what it was.
Every time we were like, is your outfit, what is it again?
Remind me what the hell is that?
It was fine, the video did well. But what was really interesting is that loads of people were rented, were reused, were
Mum's
whatever.
wardrobe as well.
Yeah, there was loads of great options. There was 1 or 2 that was new. One of them was new, but from maybe Reformation or something, so it was premium. I think Reformation is still a pretty good brand. So she was like, oh, it's new. We were like, don't worry, it's great. You know,
are you going to wear it again?
Yeah, exactly. She'd spent a bit of money on it. One of them was Temu or Shein, I can't remember now. And she was mortified. She was like, oh, I don't want to say. Like, she knew that there was shame associated with it. And we were like, we're not giving you the shame, but
although
you've
our
already got the shame. But so I did, whereas I feel like there used to be a thing, oh my god, it's from Primark. And you would own it. You'd be like, oh, look at me, I found a bargain. Whereas nowadays it's like, oh, the shame, I actually know that it's not great. So there is a bit of a shift happening, I think. We like to think anyway.
But there's also energy, I think, in what you put on your body. And if you're walking around, even if it's the back of your mind thinking, oh, I shouldn't have bought this, or even if something is great quality but you just spent too much money on it and you're like, oh god, whatever. I just don't think that's a good energy to carry with you throughout the day. And every time you take it out of your wardrobe, you think, oh, oh God. I just think like it's so nice to feel guilt-free about the way you're adorning your body, that, you know, that should be the sell.
So I've got to tell you this, because last weekend I was at Hindu, and there was one bit of the Hindu that was like sequin themed, which you were like, well, sequin's not so good. But I was wearing these silver boots, this silver dress, and this pink jacket, all of it from Vinted, all of it for probably a total of like £15. And I had this moment where, obviously, again, aged by a few juicy little drinks, I was like, if I was a Lego man or a Lego person, this would be my outfit. This is how I want to project to the world. And I said this to someone who I'd never met before, because obviously that's the nature of home. So I was like, if I was a Lego person, this would be the vibe. And she's like, okay, great to meet you.
Who are you?
Who's a strange woman in the pink dress?
I love that.
That's so true though. You're like,
it's quite a nice way to think. If I was forced to wear this for the rest of time, I love it. I'd be like, yes, this is my personality.
oh my God, I'm going to get dressed every day with that Lego mentality.
There's a few like similar versions of that, like what would your cartoon character outfit be, and then you can think about the way you do your hair, your makeup, and your jewellery is like, if I was Lisa Simpson, do I want to be known for my little dress or whatever? And some people talk about their ghost outfit of like if I died, would I want to be floating around forevermore in this outfit? When you leave the house in the morning, should you be like, if this is my ghost outfit, am I satisfied, or would I be so embarrassed in front of all the other ghosts? Be like, what are you wearing? Be like, I know, I just didn't, things like this happen.
Well, no, there's like a running joke in my house that my mum always says this. She's always like, you know, occasionally you just have to nip out, and it's like, you know, even my mum said, like, some mums doing the school run would like do it, you know, be a bit scruffy, or sometimes maybe even in their pajamas. And, you know, I'll go pick Jake up from the train station sometimes late at night. He'll be like, no, you don't, but I promise I do that. And it's always that like, oh, do you just nip in your pajamas? Mum always says that's the one time you'll have a car accident, and then you'll be there with the paramedics like, I promise I normally look fabulous.
Or you'll bump into your ex, like it's the one day where you see everyone you've ever known, and you're like, come on.
See breaking news, and you'll be the Beyonce, something will happen to you. But I just really want to quickly get, because you are like the queen of secondhand shopping, and ever since I've known you, you always pull these absolute amazing guns out, and you are an expert in London. So I find myself a lot of the time with a couple of hours between meetings, whatever, in London, and I do not know where to start with regards to secondhand fashion. So tell me the best shops. Where do you head?
I'm so annoying because everything comes with a caveat, and I see so many TikToks of like, they're top places to go, and there aren't, because it depends what you're after. It depends on your vibe and what you're looking for, and your taste as well. I would say London is so good for reflecting the people and the culture of each area in their charity shops, and I do think people are kind of donating local, and then it's staying quite close to home, which I really like. So if you are looking for something for a formal event, go to Chelsea, go to Chelsea and just have so much fun, and be ready to spend a bit more money, and don't be one of those people who be like, oh my God, it's still so expensive. It's because there are good quality designer pieces. I go to a lovely woman called Anne-Marie. She has a kind of secondhand boutique on King's Road called Preloved Again. She's so good, and tell her I sent you. Please, I'll send you her Instagram, like put it wherever. She really, like, her and everyone who works in that shop, like Sarah's in there, whatever, they will come and like help you out, and you can book a fitting or whatever. And the clothes are really good. I've bought an Alexander McQueen dress from there. I've got a Loewe dress from there. Every time I go to an award show, that's my treat. I'm like, and I might spend 180 quid or 150 quid, but they're dresses that are worth like sometimes 800, 900 quid. So that's really fun. If you want kind of trendy, I guess kind of like a lot of Zara, a lot of ASOS, a lot of that kind of vibe, I think Clapham Junction is really good. They have a trade, but they also have a really good Scope. They have, I'm pretty sure they've got a Shelter and Crisis are always really good charity shops in London. Cold Drops Yard has got a good Crisis. Finsbury Park's got some really good ones. And a lot of people like kind of Hackney, where we are, for again, quite cool, maybe more Gen Z vibes. And then I would say stay clear of Shoreditch and Brick Lane.
Ooh, interesting.
Brick Lane
was known for secondhand shops, and then just became the hub for shops kind of masking as vintage or pre-loved or secondhand, when actually a lot of them are just kind of fast fashion stores, and they just put vintage style or Y2K style, and they charge so much money for absolute crap. Like, I've got a lot of like young people that I've like worked with who are like, look what I got, and it's like a cami top from like Peacock, and they were like, it was £18. I'm like, what is this? Like, it's horrible. No offense if anyone owns that, but like just stuff where you're like, this is not worth it. But yeah, I'd stay clear of that. And Camden has similar. So anywhere that was kind of like had a lot of that to begin with, it's always been gentrified for its secondhand stuff.
Commercialised.
Yeah, completely. So I think anyone as well who's like, maybe you see somewhere and it's advertised as like vintage boutique, whatever, just have a look. And sometimes all it takes is looking and seeing. If you see the same dress 3 times, it's not secondhand.
Do you know, I knew you'd be the fountain of knowledge with this, but I didn't expect you to be like, do this, don't do
that.
this.
I also love how you start the question being like, I don't really have some advice. No, I've got some very clear advice.
It's exactly what to do. But I do think London's got so many like fun, rich, not rich as in money, but like rich culture and fashion. Angel and Islington's got some great places. I love the charity shops in Brixton, but it really depends what mood you're in. And like if I'm in Brixton, I'll go and chat to every volunteer and I'll talk to them and I'll ask, what have you got in the back? Can I route around here? Blah, blah, blah. Talk to me. Do you like this? Asking for advice. If you're not in that mood, don't go. Like, go somewhere else. So I think people kind of try and do this blanket thing of like top 3, and it's not that simple.
No. And also the nature of it is you don't know what you're going to find.
I can't guarantee you're going to go and have
exactly. So kind of see what's going on. But there's some really good events that come up as well. What's it called? I think it's called it's like Charity Shop Supermarket or something, where a lot of charity shops kind of band together and do a pop-up in one building. Okay. So you might have like 5 different charity shops, and then you're just shopping. And I'm like, that's what we need, because you don't want to always pop. So little things like that. Like jumble sales are starting to kind of get big again. And again, I would say stay clear of a kilo sale. They are never worth it, and it is all the kind of waste stock that needs to go off to recycling, but they're trying to give it one more chance to sell it. And you will go and buy a kilo bag of t-shirts, you'll get home and they'll all be stained or have holes in. And that's not for me to discourage you to go and shop second hand, but it's to just say they're taking you, and they're taking you on a ride, and it's stuff that they need to just go and get recycled. They're just trying to sell it to people, and for you to then feel good of like, I shop at second hand. But yeah, kilo sales, I would say I've never been to a good kilo sale in the UK. They're good in Europe. Like I used to live in Paris, and they would do like good quality kilo sales. But in London, if they know it's rubbish, they'll just try and like group it in and put it in a bag and charge you £10 for it.
God, to Paris we go. And I say, I took from that.
They're like, that's all I heard.
Investigative journalists. Oh my God, they are honestly the best tips ever. I really feel like we need a day out shopping. We keep saying that we need a day in London to go around to get all those shops. Maybe we should put one in the diary and bring our expert along. Well, I feel like we're kind of wrapping up, because otherwise we'll sit here and eat aubergine and talk to you for the rest of the afternoon, and you have a bed to get to. I feel like you are obsessed with Mary's life and routine. So ask the question that I didn't allow you to ask earlier because it had to be recorded.
So this is always the risk. Whenever we sit down with guests, we've just had lunch, we've had loads of lovely questions, and then every so often we've had them like, shh, stop talking, because that will be a good question. But you have, as we've mentioned, like an insane schedule, which does involve some slightly mental sleep. Just walk us through a typical day.
So for context, I am the presenter of the overnight and early breakfast show on Hits Radio. So that is on air from 1 a.m. until 6 a.m. And then other bits and bobs at radio. And then I'm just trying to do everything all the time. And I love this stage of life where it's just busy. But yes, I try and get to bed for 6 p.m. Do I ever do it? No, I'm 8 months into this job. I just really struggle with routine. But yeah, if I can get into bed by 7, then we're having a good time. We're waking up around 12:30. We're doing some radio. We always come back and have a little nap. Have a little nap. Don't nap for too long because it's dangerous. You know that. And then just try your best to keep it moving in the day. Some days, because I don't live in London, I live in a village outside of London. So some days I come back into London, do a photo shoot or do something with charity shop, or
do green beans.
Do this, having fun on a bar and having a great time. And so sometimes it involves coming back to London or filming for a documentary, which are often very long days. And
a TV day and a radio night is a
lot.
But also, what a dream.
It's a dream. I feel very lucky, and like I'm so lucky. I work with a lot of females, a lot of women, and the directors are always really good. Like, they can see when my eye starts to twitch, and I'm like, I think I might be needing to wrap up now, and they'll be like, okay, let's go home, like just go home, and like, people are really forgiving with it, and yeah, I definitely never want to like glamorize like the hustle and the grind, but the reality I think of working in this industry is like something's got to give, you've got to sacrifice something, and I think this stage of life is like, don't have that much sleep, but every Friday night since I started I've slept for about 13 hours.
Oh, that's nice.
It's really nice. I just don't set an alarm, and I'm like, Saturday morning you can't make me do anything.
People, when I used to do those shifts that were like, but do you not just find on your days off you're waking up at 3 a.m? I'm like, no.
Your body doesn't want you to do that.
You don't get used to it, you just learn to live feeling jet lagged. That is the difference. Like,
exactly, and like your body wants to rise with the sun and set with the sun as well. So blackout blinds are your friend, eye masks, and then sunrise clock and all of that. And I'm like Inspector Gadget when I wake up. I have an alarm here, a light here, a vibrating thing here. Like everything's just like and then I'm like,
The panic when you have, like, when you have to get up on an antisocial time, you need to have all of that kind of resiliency built in so that you just absolutely cannot miss it, because it's stressful. And then even that stress of thinking, what if I don't wake up, then inhibits that sleep as well. So you've got
I think my thing at the moment is like, don't let myself get to that point of even thinking that's a possibility. And actually my dad has just started working night shifts, only on a short-term basis, but it's quite nice having a little buddy.
oh, my sister's cabin crew for British Airways, not very green, but we'll give her that. And so knowing that sometimes she was on the other side of the world in a different time zone, and then, well, she's cabin crew for British Airways and has 2 children, so she's up in the middle of the night. And so when I used to, like, sometimes you're responding to text from the night before at 3 a.m, and then when you get a ding, you're like, and then someone else is here.
It's really comforting. I think everyone, if anyone's in a similar position as me, like, get yourself one little buddy, one little friend. Either they live in Australia or America or whatever.
You started.
I know.
So annoying. Years I was waiting for that.
You handed over the baton and gave me the advice that I needed. So yeah, but I've got Kevin now, I've got my dad. So, and then he's like, oh, I've been listening to you on the radio on the way back from work. I'm like, oh, this is nice.
Big up, Kev.
Yeah, so yeah, it's been good.
Well, now that you've got your question out of the way, we should end with the official Green Queen's ending question, which is, what is the last thing that you did, could be big or small, that had the environment in mind?
Oh.
We always put people on the spot.
I know.
We really should warn people.
The pressure is big, but I feel like it doesn't need to be as deep as you're thinking.
I know, it could all be so simple. What is the last thing I did? I really like to cycle, and
that was one the other day.
I cycled home. I went to All Points East Festival on Friday.
On Friday.
Oh, he's playing this.
Barry Can't Swim.
Oh, that'll be fun.
Yeah.
So yeah, I was thinking about, otherwise I would have got the tube anyway, but I was like on my bike and I was like, oh, I'm having so much fun. And I was like, Mary, reminder, you need to cycle more places because it's so good. And when you are in a good headspace, you do nicer stuff for the world and for yourself anyway. So I'm like,
London summer on a bike, it all feels very...
I felt alive again. It was a beautiful moment. So yeah, and a lot of people do it. They have like thousands of line bikes at All Points East Festival. So at the end, everyone's just like, ding, 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 off we go, like cycle away. So yeah, small but significant.
Small but mighty.
Yeah.
Well, I think that is a perfect note to end on.
Yeah.
Honestly, thank you so much for coming out to Barge East.
Yeah.
And especially because this is like 9 p.m.
Yeah. Hopefully you enjoyed your supper.
No, I did. I feel like I'm out at night. Yeah. Thank you both so much. And I bloody love the podcast and what you're doing.
We hope you enjoyed this episode of Green Queens. If you did and you'd like to hear more, we'd be so very grateful if you could like, subscribe and join the Green group chat for weekly episodes.